Hey guys, it's Joe with SuburbanPrepping.com. Now, whenever we talk about prepping, one of the things we have to consider is light. Believe it or not, we're in the dark a lot of the times, and no, I don't mean that humorously. If you look at things just in rough numbers, we spend a quarter of our time in the dark. We call it nighttime. We spend another quarter of our time in the morning. That's low light. Another quarter of our time in low light. That's the evening. So 75% of our time is spent in low light or no light scenarios. What are we going to do to have light during that time? There's lots of things you can do. Carry a flashlight, have candles, lanterns, all kinds of stuff. But what about those times when you don't want any of that? You just want something to provide you some light, maybe light at a table. Maybe you want to send your kid to bed with a flashlight, but you don't want to waste the batteries. Isn't there anything you can do that's quick, that's easy, that's relatively cheap, and you don't have to worry about it if it breaks or if the batteries go out or anything like that, but it's always there when you need it? There is something you can make yourself. I call it a sun in a jar, and I'm going to teach you how to make it right now. Something really easy. You can build this with your kids. It's solar powered, so you're not going to have to worry about batteries pretty much ever. It's ridiculously inexpensive, and it's got stuff that you can pick up at your local big box store. Even Walmart is going to have what you need. In fact, that's where I went. How much is this going to cost you? Okay, first of all, cups. I prefer glass cups for this, the nice, thick juice cups. Those are going to cost you about $2-3 a piece. These are plastic, so they're not quite as durable, but they got this kind of neat fluting on it. That's two of them right there. They got that neat fluting. That'll come in handy for something here in just a minute, okay? 2-pack, 88 cents. Cheap, okay? Next thing you're gonna need is some adhesive. That stuff right there, we're gonna find out if that works. It should. I got it because it has a cap that I can put back on it. Very similar to clear caulk. That'll work just fine. I just don't use enough of it to justify buying a whole tube. So I got this. How much is that? $3, and it'll make a dozen of these or more. Okay, so all ready to make 2 of them. I know this might break the bank, we're up to like $5, less than that. Next thing you're gonna need, have you seen these? Little solar powered yard lights. They just stick into the ground like that, and a little spike that you stick into the ground. You just set them there. We're going to use one of those, but we're not going to use any of this stuff. I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to use this, and I'll show you a little bit more about what we're going to do with that in just a minute. Now, you can get these too. That, $2.50. Okay, just bought it at Walmart. They're kind of phasing out these. Get whatever color you like. I like the silver rather than the brass, but they only had the brass left. I wanted to make more than one. That's the silver one. It's exactly the same thing. It's just it has this really funny looking plastic flowery thing on the bottom. Yeah, we don't really care about that. But that's what we want. Okay. Here's the next thing. Oh, by the way, this guy, $3.50. And it's not even as good as the other one. And I'll tell you why. If you look down in here, you'll see absolutely nothing. Okay? If you look down in here, you'll see a nice little mirror kind of in a cone shape. Now what that is, you've got your LED light in here, that lights up, it comes down, hits the reflector in the bottom, and reflects back out. We don't have that with the funky green flowery thing. It'll still work, just not as well. So I'm going to show you how to build it using that one. Just know that it'll work just fine using that one as well. I like these quite a bit. You can't get at the battery very easily. I've had these things running forever, never had to get at the battery, and even if you do, you're into this thing a total of like $3, $4 by the time you're done with it. So in 3-4 years, go ahead and throw it out and build another one. Or take it apart, get at the battery. On the top, by the way, if you couldn't figure this out, little solar panel, it charges up the battery that's in here, turns on that light, and before you start anything, pull that tab out. That connects it so that now when you cover the solar panel, the light turns on, and when you uncover it, it turns off. See that? Not a ton of light, but you'd be surprised. One of these guys sit in the middle of a table, will light up the whole table. You can play cards by it, you can read a book by it. Might not be the best for your eyes, but you can do it. So here's what I've done. I went ahead and used a #1 screwdriver to take out that little Phillips screw in the bottom, and out of that is where I pulled out this little reflector. You can see there it's got kind of a cone, pyramid, whatever shape to it. Now, on that post, I've put in a dot of this adhesive, be a little bit generous with it, and then there's a very scientific method that I have for putting this down in the bottom. You'd be amazed at how, I've tried having kids put it down in there, and it just never quite worked out. So I found this method kind of by accident. You're gonna think it's awesome, and it involves gravity, so that's even better. That's the post that it comes on. I know I'm using the different color one here, don't worry about that. What I'm gonna do is take this, put it right there. Okay, I got that all in place. I'm gonna take the cup, stick it over, and this might take you a time or two to get right, but we're just gonna put it kind of somewhere as close to the middle as we can. Now, in some cups, especially plastic ones, there's a little dot in the middle that it's gonna be hard to sit on top of. It'll help you know where the middle is, but there you go. We got it somewhat centered. That's all we're worried about. Next is I've taken this and I put a little ring of that adhesive all around the top. You can see I wasn't all that neat with it. There's a little drip right there. Don't worry about that. That'll just add character. Here's my light. I pulled that tab so that the battery is making contact now. I've checked and the light is working, and the switch should be working too. Hopefully. It was working just a minute ago. Anyway, so we're going to take that and we are going to set it right on top as centered as we can. And it's not going to line up perfectly, and it doesn't have to. I'm just going to push on it, and there we go. And you can kind of see the light coming out of that, right? So that's what we're going to have, is a nice little light. Of course, it doesn't look that bright here with all the lights on, and it's during the daytime, but at night that puts off a nice light. It's not terribly bright, but it's bright enough that you can work by. Much brighter than moonlight, so don't worry about that. Let's go ahead and make another one of these, this time using the one without the reflector. And I know that's just kind of lame that it doesn't have a reflector in it, but yeah, that just looks kind of lame too, don't you think? Anyway, so we're going to grab another one of these cups. I'll show you the process. Take the lid off of our adhesive. Now, like I said, just regular adhesive caulk works. I like using the clear stuff. If you've got white or some other color on hand, you can use that. If you want to use epoxy here, you can do that. Just enough to put a bead around that ring. And try and keep it. If you're going to mess up, get it on the inside rather than the outside. We're not interested in perfection here, but put the lid back on that, set it aside. There it is, the light works. I'm gonna take it, and again, this one does not have a reflector in the bottom. I'm gonna set it down, maybe squish it around a little bit, see if it's roughly centered, and it is, and then there we go. So you can see here, this one has the reflector in the bottom. You can see how it kind of throws the light out a bit better than this one without the reflector. That's why I recommend doing it. Attempt. You can see this is a short juice cup. This is glass, and I just went ahead and put an adhesive bead right in around here. It's it's a little bit ugly. You can see the light still comes on, and I've got my reflector right there in the bottom. I like the glass because it's a lot more durable. I've never had one of these break, so keep that in mind. Now, this is one of the better looking ones on the top, because the kids, my girls use this one, not my boys. My boys have pushed this plastic part down in all of theirs. It's kind of ugly to look at, has a little bit of a rough edge. I don't think it's sharp enough to cut them, but doesn't look all that great. Now, one thing to remember is this solar panel is recessed just a little bit, so you can set it upside down and you don't have to worry about it scratching that panel. So there's the prototype. Now next, and this was just kind of an accident, I thought I was getting the same size cup, and I didn't. This one's a little bit smaller, so I just went ahead and put that bead around the top and set it down. You can see my caulk up here. This wasn't adhesive, this was caulking. It's kind of turned a little bit cloudy, but doesn't look bad. Sits on top. It's a little top heavy, but I get more light out of this. You'll notice I have more space for that light than I do with this one. And then again, if it's top heavy, don't worry, set it upside down. There's your jar. Now, one other thing you can do. See that? That's a nice mason jar. It looks kind of crazy because it's got this sprayed stuff inside. This is really nice. You just put that bead around the inside, you stick that in, or in this case, you put it in and go around. It looks nice. You know, you can get access to it, you can seal it up. Just kind of neat. This guy costs about $5 at your craft stores. And I got the short stubby ones. We've gone with the taller ones before. I like the stubby ones better. They're a little bit more durable. All of the tall ones have broken, by the way, because the kids are a little bit rough with them. We sprayed the inside of this with a frosting paint, you know, like you used to frost windows and stuff with. And the kids put this little glowy thing inside. That's not part of it. We did that and it's all chipped off because it sits out in the sun and it just gets hot. We tried putting it on the outside and the kids scratch it off. So you know what, just leave it off. It's not going to do much good other than hide the fact that you've got one direct source of light. Not a big deal. We also painted the bottom of this with silver paint. You can see that's all but come off now. Didn't do much good. So if you're going to go with this route because you want it to look a little bit nicer, you don't have younger kids. Mine, you know, between the ages of 4 and 8, they, especially boys, they are a bit rough with them. You can open and close this all you want. They do. They put stuff in it. You know, that's fine. Could double as a storage vessel in that case. But if you don't want to do that, and if you want to save some money, don't spend the extra money to get this. If you want it to look cute and have a nice project, you can do that. The solar panel is beneath the glass here, so it's a lot more weather tight. These sit outside anyway, so I wouldn't really worry about putting them outside if you wanted to, because they're designed to go outside. So there's another idea. Last but not least, this guy. We got this like cheap. It's got a place to put a votive inside of it, which anytime you have open flame, I really recommend that you close that flame. So you can just put a votive or even a tea candle in there, close this up, and it keeps it away from the wind and doesn't let it go out. So really nice idea. I like it for candles and whatnot. But check this out. You just open this guy up, take your sun in a jar. You can put it right in there, either the tall one or the short one. Right there, not only do you get stars on the ceiling and whatnot, but it's kind of up and out of the way. You can hang it in the room. You can hang it from a light, you know, if you've got a chandelier over your kitchen table, so you're not taking up table space with it. All kinds of fun. The kids like doing that just because it's a lantern. So, you know, they kind of dig that too. If you want to, rather than putting the tall one in there, this is what we do with the short ones that have had the top pushed in. And no, it wasn't the other way around. You can do that, and then you get more light out of it, or even the other way around. Now again, this is solar powered, so you're gonna have to take these out and recharge them, but to do so, you just have to put them in a window and you're done. So let's take a look at the finished project. These have to dry yet, but I've got 4 of them right here. Okay, so these two were $2.50 plus 44 cents for the cups, plus you can see we hardly used any adhesive. So what's that? $2.50 plus, let's round it up to 50, so $3 for this. And then these guys were $4 because well, it was a little bit more expensive for the solar top. Now is a really good time in the autumn if you can find them at your local Walmart. If you can do that, that's great because they're trying to get rid of them. Nobody wants to put these in the winter. They want to put them in the springtime, so they're trying to clear them out. But there you go. Any questions? Leave those down in the comments below. And head on over to suburbanprepping.com where we've got other cool tips and tricks, not trips, for you. If you like the video, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, send them over to suburbanprepping.com as well. If you've got other ideas, I would love to hear them. Leave those over in the comments section at the website. I would greatly appreciate it.